Okay, guys, we're back this week. We talked about braces and dictionaries last week. Do y'all have any questions about that? Did y'all use that stuff like I told you to? Ace?
Yes, I did.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Seriously?
For editing purposes, yes, I'm trying to like incorporate stuff. I did not use every single thing.
No, but I mean,
whatever I could,
yeah.
yes, I did.
You? Slick? Don't lie either.
I don't remember, probably not.
Well, then you didn't.
Me?
You don't remember, you probably didn't. So, guys, I need you guys to really use this stuff. I mean, because like when we come back the next week, I want you guys to ask, you know, hey, I use this and this was a little bit different or whatever. So, that's why I ask you guys to mess with it, you know, okay? This week, we're going to do prefixes and suffixes. Have you guys messed with that at all? You have?
I've had the W, right?
You know how to do it?
The W,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know how to do it in editing? You use it in your editing?
Yes. You mean the W function and
Yeah.
then?
I actually had a question, and you remember how you told us for a word, like if we wanted to insert hyphens, we would mark the word, and then we could hit the hyphen, or we could do control, whatever.
Yeah.
Isn't there a function to add an apostrophe at the end of a word?
Yeah.
I don't
It's
know what-
Alt A.
Oh,
Alt A adds an apostrophe S. So like apostrophe S. Or if the word already has an S on the end and you just need the apostrophe, you hit Alt A, and then it'll kind of switch it back and forth. It'll toggle it. Okay? Let's see if it'll do it in here. It did. See?
There it goes.
So if you keep doing it, so it's Alt A. Is the apostrophe S. If you want to add the apostrophe, you want to make it possessive. Okay? Okay. Guys, this is going to be one of your best friends right here. If you don't use it yet, you're going to love it. The more you start messing with it. So, pay close attention.
Let's see how Total Eclipse handles prefixes and suffixes. Your Steno dictionary probably includes common prefixes to hook onto a following word. Your
Hang on, guys.
Let's see how Total Eclipse handles prefixes and suffixes. Your Steno dictionary probably includes common prefixes to hook onto a following word.
Remember what I was telling you guys last week about these brackets? And you have to be real careful where you put that caret, because that's going to determine whether it's a prefix or suffix. And if you mix them up, you're really going to mess it up, and it's not going to do what you want it to do. So when you define it as a prefix or suffix, you have to have these brackets and you have to have it correct. Okay?
And suffixes to hook onto a previous word. Eclipse does a great job of adjusting spellings as it adds prefixes and suffixes, but please remember, it will only adjust the spellings. If braces surround both the delete space symbol and the prefix or suffix text.
Did you pay attention to what it just said?
what is only the delete space symbol? What is that?
I'm going in and changing your grade.
If braces
Okay, listen very close to what it's telling you right here.
But please remember, it will only adjust the spellings. If braces of adjusting spellings
it'll adjust the spelling to whatever it needs to be. So say you have study, S-T-U-D-Y, and you want to make it past tense, studied, okay? Well, it's not S-T-U-D-Y-E-D, it's I-E-D. You don't have to worry about that. All you have to do is put the D in there, and it knows to change it if you define it correctly. That's what it's telling you right there, okay? You know what I'm saying? So like when you go in, and they're going to show you in a little bit, when you go into W in hyperkeys and you want to make it past tense by putting D, it automatically does it. You don't have to worry about putting I-E-D, E-D, I-E-S, E-S. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. It automatically does it for you if you define it correctly. Okay? Does that make sense? I'm going to rewind it again and let you listen to it again.
Look on to a previous word. Eclipse does a great job of adjusting spellings as it adds prefixes and suffixes, but please remember, it will only adjust the spellings if braces surround both the delete space symbol and the prefix or suffix text. Eclipse will not automatically adjust spellings if only the delete space symbol is within braces.
You see what it's saying? It's not going to know what to do if you define it like this. Okay? All it's going to do is add the ED now. So if you're going in and you're adding D and you wrote study and it was stud, D, E, and D, so 3 strokes, study, E, and then D for the past tense, and it's coming up S-T-U-D-Y-E-D, then you did something wrong. And you need to go in your dictionary and find out if that's the way you did it, which is probably what happened. So if that's why it's doing it, that's probably the way you defined it. Okay?
You're referring to what we stroke, right? Because if I just click on it, hit W, hit D, it does I-E-D.
Yeah, if you automatically do it like that, but if you write it, what I'm talking about is writing. We're not talking about the function W right now. That's going to come in just a second when they talk about it or whatever. But when you define it, and that's what it is, the steno is D. The steno is pre for the prefix. Okay? And if you define it wrong, that's how it's going to come up. P-R-E regardless of what it is, and E-D regardless.
It's not gonna tag it on. to
It's
anything.
not going to know to add the IED if it needs the IED or whatever, okay? So this is not the right way to define it. It's in the brackets, inside the brackets, okay? So if it's doing that, then something's wrong in your dictionary and you need to go in your dictionary and change it.
Eclipse comes with a prefixes and suffixes kit with a dictionary that includes several hundred entries. All you have to do is decide whether you want to use the steno that is given as an example, or press the Enter key to get inside and change the steno to something that you know you would write.
Guys, seriously, if that's the way you write, you probably need to retake
No.
3. Okay?
To something that you know you would write.
If that's the way you're writing G for ing, good luck. Okay? It's showing you how to go in there and change them if you want to. I wouldn't do it if I were you. You do it if you want. Okay? Most of them are correct. But if you do it a little bit different, you know, I don't really know what Mark Kissingberry does on things, so, you know, if it's different, you know, for D, for ED, for S, for ING, then you're probably going to need to go in here and change some things. I really don't know. I don't know his theory enough, and I know that it's way off base from the way that I learned, okay? But, I mean, if you want to go in and change it, then that's the way you do it. Okay?
Right. The documentation shows how these prefixes and suffixes, added to common root words, could help translate uncommon words beautifully. Much more could be said about prefixes and suffixes, but this is the subject of a separate in-depth ePower video tutorial, which shows you step by step how to take advantage of the prefixes and suffixes kit.
Pretty straightforward, to the point, no big deal. Okay? The most important thing is defining it correctly. Okay? When you go in and do it on the W, then that's going to be different. It already knows what to do. It's already defined it. So it's already in the software and knows what to do. But if you're having to go through and define your prefixes and suffixes, then that's when you need to do it correctly. Understand? All right. And here they're telling you when you go in and define like a certain word, and what they're defining here is the history, I don't know, historiographer. You're supposed to be historiographer. I don't know, whatever, okay? That's not the way that I would do it, but they're just giving you an example. So what you need to do is define them differently. Define everything individually, okay? So like this would stand on its own. And because you do it as an RI, it's gonna be your suffix. Because if you use RE, which is like recalculate, and you use it as the prefix, it's gonna be different, okay? You have to be real careful, and you have to be a really good writer to do this, okay? Does that make sense? Because one letter off, and you have a suffix. You add one letter to the prefix, you're going to have the suffix. You omit one letter from the suffix, now you're going to have the prefix. You understand what I'm saying? Bless you. So you have to be real careful with what you're doing, but you want to define them differently. You don't need to define it as the whole word. It'll know to put it together, and it's going to help you out. It's going to help your dictionary. Does that make sense? Because now you have, if that's the way you stroke history, which is not for me, but it is what it is. If that's the way you stroke history, then I do it HIRT is my history. Yeah. So that's what works for me. And we hear it every day because the judge always asks, you know, well, what's the history of the dad? What's his history? So we hear history in my court all the time. So I had to think of a brief, because if not, that's a three-stroker for me. Not good. Or you do his tree, which is not good either. Because even if you do his, HIS, and then come back TRI, that's his try. But if you do long E, now it's his tree with the leaves. Not good. So I had to come up with something different. That's what worked for me, HIRT. Apparently it's HIFT, whatever. I mean, so that would have been the history, suffix, grapher is always going to be with something. So it's videographer, stenographer, any of the graphers, okay? So it stands alone and it's going to be a prefix, a suffix. So it's going to attach onto something, okay? So you see how it's defined? Y'all get what I'm saying? It looks like I got the deer in the headlight looks. So it's good? Y'all just tired or not interested? Talk to me. And this is the same way. Because this, do y'all use that for assume?
I break it into, the way mine is, you do any of the A's, like assume,
AI? That's the way I do it.
Assume.
Assume is AI. Assume.
Yeah.
And that long UM. Okay. Well, that's the way that I do it. But you have to be real careful because now you've done, and I don't know if that's what they were doing or not, but I'm going to give you this as an example, is that they've done the suffix now because they added the U. So if you're doing resume or resumption, that's not right. Okay? I don't know what they were doing. I need to go back up and see what they were doing, but.
Binary assumptions.
Oh, it's binary, yeah. Binary assumptions. But let's just say they weren't doing binary assumptions and they're doing resumptions. I don't even know if it's a word, whatever. I don't really care. But if you were, then that's incorrect. Because what this is going to do is attach on to the last word because you stroked it wrong. Okay? Slick? Do you even know what I'm talking about? Are you here?
I do, I just don't really like to really focus on that because then I'm gonna try and change everything and I'm gonna mess up, so I just like to make things clear.
The dictionary should be good. I've only ever had to change it
Atta
a few
girl.
times.
Yeah, just do what you want. It doesn't matter.
It's just for.
And honestly, guys, I'll be totally honest with you. I wouldn't worry about it a ton right now. Okay? When you get out of school, not if. When you get out of school, then you can work on it and fix it. Right now, if you can read it, you can read your notes, it's all about speed now. You're trying to get out. You're just trying to get out. And like the thing that we teach when we taught the I just went blank. Yeah, exactly.
Speeds, trying to get up to speed.
No,
Y'all taught what?
when we teach the real-time class, is how to stroke correctly. And that's why we didn't offer it to the students. It was only to working court reporters that wanted to clean up their writing. You don't need to be there, because now you're thinking too much. You need speed. As long as you can read it, it doesn't matter. But when you get out, this is what they're talking about, okay? This is what they're talking about. Cleaning up your writing, doing it correctly, okay?
I only use this one where I had to go in and check some of my prefixes and suffixes because I combined two different theory dictionaries. And so some of them were literally, it would have two different definitions for, one of them was a prefix and one of them was a suffix. And so I had to go in and look and find some of them because it would attach or it would switch words and
Yeah.
I'd look and then I had to go in my dictionary.
And a lot of times, it's gonna attach onto something that doesn't even make any sense. So you're gonna know, it doesn't go there. It doesn't, And I'll be honest with you, I still do it today with my LI. For some reason, Christ almighty, but that's a different story for a different day. But, it's no big deal. I know what it does. And I know what it is, so I've already kind of defined it in my dictionary to know what it needs to be. Okay, so it's no big deal.
I guess I don't like to focus on this because I mess it up. Maybe you can help me. Like, one problem I have is I define believe to stroke BL. Like the
Initial?
No, the endings. I just do ending BL for believe. So when I'm trying to write believable, I write BL and it comes out believe because I'm scared to define that BL to attach to it. Because when I tried that, it attached to other things when I wasn't trying to say believable.
The final BL?
Could you
Yeah.
global?
For able, for able, or.
Could you
For
global?
able,
No,
not
for-
believable.
Bull, like
Could
just
you
the
do it
bull
twice?
sound.
Could you just global BL together?
And then make believable.
And then make, no, were you saying you wanted to do something, where you were, what is your stroke when you write?
Explain
BL
that to me, explain it to me again.
When I stroke believe, I write ending BL.
Mhm.
But sometimes I want to.
BL?
Yes.
Is believe?
Well, that's how I do it. Because I found myself doing that all the time, so I just defined it.
What is your able?
That's what I'm saying. So
Like capable?
BL. So that's why I mess up everywhere when I.
Could you, could she
press that.
Yeah,
global it
be
if you press
careful,
it
be careful
twice?
with that.
If you were to press it twice, could you just global it? Because normally you wouldn't press that twice in a row. Could you just global it to tell it, if I press this twice in a row, make it believable, and then the rest
Well,
of the time it's gonna be a suffix?
My dictionary knows when I write capable, it's capable. Those two are together, so it makes capable. But it knows when I write BL alone to make believe. So I'm having trouble stroking believable because I'm writing believe.
How do you do capable in one stroke?
I don't. I do cape and then BL or capable. And it knows.
So how would you do Cape believe? If somebody said, you know what, it's the Cape believe theory.
See, and that's why I don't try to get into that because I already messed up with believe. But I
Yeah.
always just fix it when I see it. I know what it was supposed to.
You know, I'll be honest with you now. If you can fix it now, fix it now. I wouldn't use believe as that one. I'd come up with something else.
So you're suggesting not to mess with the suffixes?
Well, I mean, be careful because, I mean, how you gonna do it? It's gonna conflict with something else. So you have to be careful with what you do. Like making shortcuts and briefs, fantastic. Guys, it can't conflict with other stuff. It can't. So you're always think, well, what if, how am I gonna do capable in one stroke? I'll do cable. Well, does that conflict with something else? Yes, it does. But I hear it so much that I'm going to use the asterisk with it. And I'm aware enough that I know that I'm going to be able to do it. And I'm telling you, I do it.